As we cross the threshold into our 60s and beyond, we often find that our bodies begin to speak to us in a brand new language. For many of us, this language isn't made of words, but of physical sensations that we haven't felt before. One of the most common complaints the body registers in these later years is a persistent, heavy feeling in the lower limbs. It is a strange phenomenon that many seniors describe with a sense of frustration. You might start your morning feeling like a spring chicken, full of energy and ready to tackle the day's to do list, perhaps planning a trip to the market or a walk in the park. However, by the time the evening news comes on, your legs feel as though they have been replaced by heavy, immovable blocks of lead. You might look down at the end of a long day and notice that your ankles look a bit puffy, almost as if the definition of the bone has vanished. Perhaps you notice that the elastic from your favorite pair of socks has left a deep, stubborn canyon in your skin that takes hours to fade away. This heaviness is more than just a minor nuisance or a cosmetic issue. It is a thief of time and joy. It can make the activities we love, like gardening in the backyard, walking the dog around the neighborhood, or playing on the floor with grandchildren, feel like an exhausting, uphill chore rather than a pleasure. Many people begin to pull back from their social lives because the physical effort of simply moving from point A to point B feels too great. However, it is important to realize that this sensation is not an inevitable sentence of slowing down. By understanding the simple, fascinating mechanics of how our blood moves and learning how to support our internal plumbing, we can transform this frustration into a manageable part of a healthy, active lifestyle. To understand why our legs feel so heavy as we age, we must first look at the incredible journey our blood takes every single minute of our lives. Think of your heart as a powerful central pump, the engine of your entire body. Its primary job is to send fresh oxygen rich blood all the way down to your furthest extremities, like your toes. This downward trip is relatively easy. In fact, gravity acts like a helpful wind at the blood's back, pulling everything toward the floor with very little effort required from the veins themselves. The real challenge begins when that blood has to make the return trip. To get back to the heart to be refreshed and recirculated, blood must travel uphill against the constant, unrelenting pull of gravity. It is a long climb from your pinky toe back up to your chest. To accomplish this impressive feat, the body relies on two very clever systems: one way valves and what doctors often call the muscle pump. Inside your veins are thousands of tiny, delicate flaps called valves. When blood moves toward the heart, these valves swing open like little trapdoors to let the fluid through. Once the blood passes through, they are designed to snap shut tightly to prevent the blood from sliding back down toward your feet. Simultaneously, your calf muscles act as a second heart. Every time you take a step, flex your foot, or wiggle your toes, the calf muscle squeezes the veins, physically pushing the blood upward toward the next set of valves. It is a brilliant coordinated team effort, but like any machine that has been running for 6 decades, it requires a bit of extra maintenance and understanding. As we reach our 60s and move into our 70s, these systems naturally undergo some structural changes. This isn't a sign that anything is wrong, but rather a reflection of a life well lived. Over decades of constant use, those tiny one-way valves can become a bit less efficient. They may not close as tightly as they once did, which allows small amounts of blood to leak backward and pool around the ankles and calves. This pooling is exactly what creates that sensation of weight, pressure, and swelling. Furthermore, our blood vessels themselves tend to become slightly stiffer and less elastic over time, much like an old garden hose that has been left out in the sun too long and doesn't bend as easily as it used to. When you combine these structural changes with a lifestyle that might be slightly less active than it was in your 30s, The muscle pump in the calves doesn't fire as often. This leads to slower circulation, more pooling, and that stuck feeling we often experience by sunset. Knowing how the system works gives us the power to help it along. One of the most effective and simplest tools we have to fight this heaviness is the power of elevation. Because gravity is the primary force making it hard for blood to return to the heart, we can actually turn the tables and use gravity to our advantage. By spending 20 to 30 minutes in the afternoon lying down with your feet propped up on a few pillows, ideally so your ankles are higher than the level of your heart, you give your veins a downhill ride. This allows the pooled fluid to drain back into the circulatory system, providing almost instant relief from that leaden feeling. Beyond resting, we can also use micro movements to keep the pipes clear throughout the day. Ankle pumps, performed by pointing your toes and then flexing them back towards your shins, manually activate the calf muscle pump. Similarly, seated marching engages the larger muscles of the legs to encourage better flow without putting any stress on your joints. Dietary choices and daily routines also play a vital role. Salt acts like a giant sponge in the body, causing us to hold on to extra water that eventually sinks to our lower legs. By choosing fresh herbs or lemon juice instead of the salt shaker, we can significantly reduce this swelling. Staying hydrated is equally important. Drinking enough water actually signals to the body that it doesn't need to hoard fluid in the tissues. To make these habits easier to manage, one can adopt a 5-minute daily routine. 1 minute of elevation, 1 minute of ankle pumps, 1 minute of writing the alphabet with your toes, 1 minute of seated marching, and a final minute of gently stroking the legs upward from the ankle to the knee. These small investments of time can result in hours of physical relief and prevent that heavy feeling from becoming overwhelming. While these lifestyle adjustments are powerful, it is also essential to maintain a partnership with your healthcare provider. Heavy legs are usually a benign sign of aging, but they can sometimes be linked to the heart or kidneys working a little harder than they should. If you notice that the swelling is only in one leg, if the area feels hot or looks very red, or if you experience sudden pain, it is important to seek medical advice immediately. Your doctor can ensure that your pump is working correctly and may even adjust medications, as some blood pressure treatments can contribute to leg swelling. In conclusion, feeling heavy-legged does not have to be an inevitable part of growing older. It is simply a signal from your body that it needs a little more help fighting the constant pull of gravity. By understanding the why behind the sensation, you gain the power to manage it. Every small action adds up, whether it is propping your feet up, doing a few ankle circles, or choosing a low-salt snack. Your legs have carried you through a lifetime of adventures. With a little extra care, they will continue to carry you through many more. By supporting your circulation, you are supporting your freedom to stay active, mobile, and happy.